Hello, it's Otto here once more. Slurping coffee. It's the 25th. Our big day was yesterday, Christmas Eve. Very quiet and low key. With the dramatic change after 35 years of Christmas ham, we tried duck, various reasons. I mean, it tasted okay, but we might be going back to ham. If you're new to my channel, then welcome. This is going to be a somewhat different video to my usual. So if you are one of my subscribers and you're expecting me to either be showing you cross-stitch progress and possibly other crafts, well, it's not quite like that. I am multicrafter. I do cross-stitch. I knit. I'm not knitting as much as I used to. I also do a bit of crochet, but that's not my strongest point. I have done sewing and a bit of patchwork. I have done a bit of spinning. I mean, when you have wool and you spin it into yarn. I have done lace making, the bobbin type. I have dabbled a bit in weaving, and I actually have a loom which is not set up because there's nowhere to set it up. And those are the fabric related crafts, or most of the ones that I do. And then there's the whole paper world. There's scrapbooking, there's card making and decorations, there's painting, there's drawing, all of which I have done at some point in my life, and for one reason or another I haven't been doing as much lately. Well, I've been doing more scrapbooking. One of the big reasons why I haven't been doing anything much about many of these crafts for a number of years is the state of my house, and more specifically the state of my craft room, craft supplies. Yeah, chaos is a very good word to describe the situation, and it's been frustrating the heck out of me for a number of years. Now, I have a plan. We're going to see what life thinks about this plan. But I have a plan that 2019 could be the year where I get to go through all of my crafting stuff, sort them, cull, organize, maybe make some tough decisions about maybe I should just give up some of my interests. I'm not too keen on that, but I know that chopping off some of the many things I would like to do would give me more time, more physical space, more space up in my head to do more about the other crafts. So, yeah. I also know I have a tendency of burning out on things. I need accountability partners. I need maybe some people to cheer me on. Maybe some people who also want to get their crafting room, supply, whatever, stash, hoard, get all of that part of their lives into better shape. And so I'm going to be tracking my progress throughout 19. My hopeful progress, let's put it this way. And work on getting at least part of my life and part of my house into a state where I can find things. I don't have to spend several days rummaging through this, that and the other trying to find some itty bitty thing, but that I can just go and take it from wherever it is. So I'm going to be doing a sort of series, sort of vlog, sort of, yeah, well, we'll see what this becomes. Now I am going to put a cut here pretty soon, and I will then insert some footage I took of the area where I want my craft room to be. This is footage I took late November sometime, because at the moment things are not looking as they were back then, because I did some tidying and I got a Christmas tree in there instead. Yeah, I'll cut off here and you can then watch the area and see some of the things which need sorting and get a first impression of what the whole issue is all about. Okay, so this is what the area, which is supposed to be my crafting room, crafting area, looks like at the moment. Believe it or not, this is not the worst it has ever appeared. But yeah, I have windows which are facing south east. Yeah, well, mostly south, but there's a slight tilt to them. And at the moment I have one desk over there, and I have a new desk here, and this desk is one of those that I can change the height on at the push of a couple of buttons. And my my PC, desktop computer I think they're called, as opposed to a laptop, and my printer. And then I have two drawer units there, and there's a third here, and they have all sorts of stuff in them, and some of it should I'll have to go through every single drawer, well, almost every single drawer. This is the guest bed, which is currently doubling as an extra sort of surface. And also the reason why the guest bed is here at the moment is because in about a week or so I want to put my tree up, and knowing myself, I left the guest bed even though my guest had she was here several weeks ago, but this is one way of making sure that the area where the tree is supposed to go doesn't get covered. But this is also a thing I need to remember. I need to have space in here where I can prop up the guest bed when I have visitors, and where I can put my tree during the Christmas season. And over there is a storage unit which I actually really like, but might perhaps not really be ideal. It's salvaged from a library, and it's pretty handy for some things, and then not so handy for a lot of other reasons. So this is the room itself. I also have a wall here, but I can't really do much more with this. Also, I do want to keep pictures on that wall. So that is the doorway into what is actually the entryway, but I hardly ever use my front door. So that room has been made, and now we will try to move this without making everyone seasick. This has become more or less my storage room. Yes, lighting is also an issue. I don't have all that many lamps up yet, even though I've been living here for quite a number of years. But yeah. Okay, so this is a small room, and it is seriously packed with boxes, tubs, all sorts of crafting stuff, and magazines and stuff. And then at the very top, yeah, we have my Lego. That's also a good reason for keeping a large area of floor in the crafting room free, so I can tip out all my Lego, or, well, maybe not all of it, but parts of it. And as you can see, those boxes, they go very far up, and I'll try and lift, but anyway, and of course there's also stuff here. This is actually more or less all my cross-stitch stuff. I do still have bits and pieces floating about, but and then I have a small bookcase behind the door, and that area can probably also be used in a much better way. But most of my crafting stuff are in all of these boxes and not very easy to reach. They are here, there, everywhere in this area. There is stuff probably in amongst the chaos of what is supposed to be my library. And then, oh dear, yes, I also have crafting stuff in other parts of the house. Here, there, everywhere. I'm not going to show you my bedroom, but there's stuff in there as well. And there's a bag over there. And there's also a cat. And I actually have some all the way in there in the utility room. So, well, it's safe to say that things are in a pretty darn mess. It could be worse. It has been worse. But, well, frankly, it would have to get much messier for it to really be noticeable. Which means the good thing is it should be quite easy to make improvements. Okay, now you've seen the area I'm hoping to transform, and yeah, have an idea of the size of the project. Of course, you haven't seen all of the supplies because I didn't show you the stuff in my bedroom, and I didn't show you the stuff in the utility room, and yeah, I have a long haul ahead of me. Some of my supplies, like all of my patchwork fabrics, I have to wash them all once more because I live in the country. I had stored my patchwork fabrics on some shelves, and living in the country, mice are a fact of life. And at some point when I was looking for something in my supply room, I found traces of mice, as in mice poo. I have also found traces of mouse pee in places, and I have absolutely no idea. And I can't even just look at a piece of fabric and say, okay, a mouse has been on this, and yeah. So I am having to wash all of my patchwork fabric once more. I have started that process. It goes in fits and starts, but there is a good thing about having to go through every single piece of fabric. because there are some fabrics where I'm thinking like, why did I buy this? Which means I can, when they've been washed, I can iron it and fold it up and then pass it on to someone else and reduce, not by much, but by a bit. Every little bit helps. I have problems with a good deal of my yarn because that has also been stored in open storage, and I have had wool moths. So basically I'm going to have to go through the whole process of freezing yarn, taking it out again, and then refreezing it because of the life cycle of those blasted moths. Yeah. And I started, and then I was going to store it in bins, and that stalled as well. There's only that much space in my freezer, so I can't just shove everything in and get it all done with. Yeah. Now, I have purposely assigned the whole year for this because it's a big job and there are a number of challenges facing me. Some of these are the fact that I have to make sure the supplies are cleaned. Then there's my personality. I'm a collector by nature. I like to learn stuff. I like learning new crafts. And I'm very creative, so yeah. Maybe trying to reduce the number of crafts that I actually work, which would be part of a solution, is also a bit tricky. But then we need to add my mental health issues, because we have these personality traits, and then there comes this whole how the brain works, which turns up the volume on some of these traits, personality traits, makes them worse, affects my skills and abilities at making decisions, at saying, okay, this has to go. So the whole process will take much longer than if I wasn't stuck with these issues. Then there is the fact about, there's a financial thing. I have a limited budget. And I live, it's not, I'm not at the back of beyond actually. I'm way past that point. At least a lot of people would consider this. So when I get to grips with what sort of storage furniture and possibly also work furniture. I mean, I have some desks and one of them is definitely staying, but I know I will be needing some better storage options, ones that are decidedly mouse and moth proof. But I have to go travel quite a ways to get to some shops where I can look at furniture to figure out Then there's the whole thing of variety, that I have many different sorts of supplies which need storing. And there's of course the whole thing about real life then happening. Extra health issues might turn up. Please, no, this year was bad enough. But yeah, you never know what can happen. There are some limits to my time. These are partly the fact that I can't work at something for like 4 or 5 hours at a time, because I am just dead long before that. So it has to be small chunks. Also, I don't want to spend all my time trying to muck that whole problem. I also want to have a bit of fun and be creative in between. So I still haven't quite figured out how much time I'm going to try to allot per week, or if I'm going to just aim for a small bit every day, or how I'm going to do it. But and then there are some conditions I need to keep in mind. I mentioned the part about the windows, the fact that it's south facing. I have already had a lot of damage done to a number of my books because of the amount of sunlight getting in the summer. I don't have that problem in the winter. Then I have a problem about lighting, which I also need to work on. But I mean, I'm limited by the way the walls are, I'm limited by where the windows are, where the doors, the areas where there aren't any walls. So there are some physical limitations which also need to be taken into account. And then the whole thing that it would be nice if I have a large area of the floor which is open. So when I have a guest, it's easy to just get the guest bed set up. When it becomes turns Christmas time and I want my tree up, then there's no problem with that. A place for me to tip out the Lego. That could be modified slightly if I find storage which is easy to move around. Those drawer units they are on casters, so I can shove them around if needs be, but that's one of my key sort of things that I have to keep in mind. I am going to have to now start rummaging, corralling all my supplies, corralling all my whips, UFOs, projects which I have bought material for and planned at some point and which just never got off the ground, and decide, what am I going to do about these? Do I work on them? Do I give them up? Whatever. So there are a lot of factors which come into play in all of this, and I know that some of you watching this have some of these same issues yourselves and have been interested in hearing how I solve my problems. And maybe some of you have already solved some similar problems and you would like to share with me and with other viewers. So please do feel free to comment and suggest things, describe how you solved some of your problems. this is because I am so inundated by so many crafts. I mean, it's much easier if you only are interested in one thing and only need to set up space to do one craft. So you might not find it quite as interesting, but I know there are a number of people who do this, that, and the other thing, and another handful more. And this is an opportunity for you to also get maybe inspired and maybe provide inspiration. So I think I'm going to post this video, if I can get it edited. I'll post it before New Year's. And then I still haven't made up my mind if I want to do my first video at the beginning of the month of January or in the middle, when I've already started a bit but there's still part of the month left, or if I'm just going to charge on and then just do a recap of what did I do in January. I still haven't quite figured that out, but depending on what I decide, I am planning that this will be mostly just a monthly video where I document the progress that I have made. Please, there has to be progress. And what my planned next steps are. And then hopefully we can all have fun and maybe get our respective areas into better shape slowly. But maybe slow is the best option in these cases. And yeah, I think I'm beginning to ramble now, so I will just finish here and then hope to see you in the following video, which, yeah, I still haven't decided when it'll turn up. So, and I will be on at some point with a cross-stitch update and plans for the next year, so stay tuned for that as well. Okay, bye.